Nigeria, there are still many there. There are many. I believe that those people said that they are deep.
When you begin to hide yourself,
the business I'm doing, how to keep business, like customer business, receipts.
Hello and welcome to the program. I am Oyin Adekunle. Mainly young women and girls are being trafficked to Europe and other destinations on a daily basis by land, sea and air. Drug and human traffickers are increasingly providing smuggling services to irregular migrants in order to obtain financial or material benefits from and through them. However, different nations are now enacting migrants' protocol to combat the problem. The long arm of the law recently caught up with one of these criminals, Josephine Iyamo, a Nigerian UK-based nurse who was found guilty of using voodoo rituals to traffic 5 women to Germany for prostitution. She is the first to be prosecuted under the new British modern slavery laws. Iyamo, also known as Madam Sandra, subjected her victims to oath swearing as proof of loyalty to her and forced them to eat chicken hearts and drink blood-containing worms during initiation ceremonies. Investigators say that despite earning £14,500 as annual salary, she arranged for these women to be trafficked from Nigeria through Libya and Italy and eventually to Germany, where they are then being forced into sex slavery. NAPTIP describes the development as a good omen against trafficking. Moving on now to reports by Libyan Coast Guard officials who say that around 100 migrants are believed to have drowned off Libya's western coast after their overloaded boats capsized. The lifeless bodies of 3 babies were also recovered in the mishap. One of the 16 people who were rescued from the boat testified that the vessel had about 120 to 125 people aboard. The officials also added that they rescued an additional 300 migrants from at least 2 other migrant boats on the east of Tripoli. Now, on the program today, we shall be discussing more about human trafficking and migration problems, especially as it affects Nigeria as a country. Please stay tuned to find out more. Welcome back to the program. Like I said earlier, today we shall be examining human trafficking and migration from the Nigerian angle. My first guest is joining me all the way from Abuja. She is the Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Julie Okadonli. Now, Julie, the issue of irregular migration seems to be on the rise. What is NAPTIP doing to check this?
The organization has embarked on a massive awareness campaign because for us here, prevention is better than cure. We realize that about 80% of those involved, victims of human trafficking, are actually ignorant, of the whole crime and the consequences of irregular migration, as it were, considering the fact that most of them are taken from the rural communities and have little or no access to the internet, so we've embarked on a massive awareness campaign involving NGOs and the media and just about the whole of society. And we're actually going to start a door-to-door campaign.
Now, you just talked about creating awareness. Is NAPTIP in partnership with any organization in particular, or what is the federal government doing in terms of collaborating or involving other agencies or relevant stakeholders, to tackle this issue?
Yes, we work with a couple of NGOs, CSOs. This business is not the federal government business alone. It involves the whole of society and the whole of government. Everyone is expected to be involved, from the local government upwards, from the CSOs, the NGOs, the media. Everyone should be involved in this. Even the media, sometimes they don't give enough attention to cases on human trafficking. For example, when we get a conviction, you don't see it on the headlines. You don't see it on the front page of the newspapers. You don't see the news carrying it as something of importance. They give priority to other kinds of, fake news or other news that they think are, more important important. So, I mean, everyone must be involved in this fight. Everyone must be involved in it.
Talking about prosecuting offenders now, has the agency been able to secure any convictions so far?
Yeah, that's just what I'm complaining about, actually. That's the problem, because when we get we secure convictions, the media hardly carries it. You know, I mean, so far we've been able to get about 341 convictions, and in the last month, that's from January till date, we're able to get almost 8 convictions. We actually got one last week. A man was convicted in Kano, you know, to 10 years in prison and imposition of a 1 million naira fine. You know, we've gotten quite a number, and we expect that the media should, you know, go to town with these reports. But I mean, they hardly report, you know, successes like this.
What have you been doing to ensure maximum security both at the airport and land borders? Are your officials on ground at various locations to ensure that offenders are apprehended and brought to book?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, right now we're still expecting to get approvals for NAPTIP officers to be stationed at the borders as well as in the airports, you know, the routes that they go through this treacherous journey. And we're hoping to get the approval because I think it will really help us. I mean, we've been able to make a couple of arrests, you know, in 1 or 2 airports. Last week or so, we arrested some officials who were trying to ferry out some victims, you know, and then we are hoping that it will help us. In January, we had joint operations. We also hope to have joint operations with endemic countries. Sometime in January, we had a joint operation with the Spanish police and the NAPTIP operatives. You've been seeing it in the news lately. It's something that was done with what we call the JBTF, the Joint Border Task Force. Joint Border Task Force comprises of the National Crime Agency of the UK, who are British mentors, and NAPTIP, EFCC officials and NDLEA officials. We actually went to Spain and rescued about 39 victims and arrested 84 of the suspects. Some of the kingpins were involved. You know, so I want to see more of these joint operations taking place, you know, in various countries that are endemic, so that we not only arrest the kingpins in Nigeria, but also arrest those kingpins in the various destination countries. And so, you know, we prosecute them side by side. I think it will go a long way if we do that, and that is exactly what we're doing.
Now, Libya remains a major departure route for irregular migrants trying to make their ways to Europe. And that's because of its proximity to the Mediterranean Sea. And many of them meet their death on that route. Now, is NAPTIP in any form of talks with the Libyan authorities to put this to a stop?
Yeah, actually, we do not have that collaboration with Libya right now, you know, considering the fact there's so much chaos going on there. But we're looking into the possibility of having that collaboration with the Libyan authorities, you know, at least those ones that are recognized for now. And then we're hoping it's going to help us in some big measure.
Edo State has largely been referred to as the hub of human trafficking in Nigeria. Now, just recently, more than half of the 400 Nigerian migrants who voluntarily returned from Libya were returned to the state, where a large number of them came from. What is the response effort like in that state?
Yeah, actually, I went with my team to pay the Oba of Benin a courtesy call, and I appealed to him and told him the difficulties our prosecutors were facing getting the victims to talk and to give information, because most of them were subjected to some oath-taking in the shrines in Edo State. And I appealed to him that despite the fact that we had called the Juju priests together, and they promised us that they are now going to be ambassadors for NAPTIP, in the sense that they will stop administering these oaths on the girls, I still wanted that commitment to be given to the Oba himself. And luckily for us, the Oba responded immediately, and a week after, he summoned all the Juju priests to renounce the oaths that they are taking on these victims, and not to engage in oath-taking going forward. And this has really helped us in no small way, because we're now beginning to get victims who are calling NAPTIP now to give us information, very useful information that we are using in our investigations.
It is very interesting to know that the agency is working in partnership with Juju Priest. Can you tell us more about this oath taking?
Yes, that's one of the control mechanisms the traffickers use. Swearing of the oath gives them total control over the victims, because with that, the victims are scared to speak. They fear death, they fear madness, and they fear all sorts of evil things that the traffickers make them believe will happen to them if they divulge information concerning them, or they attempt to escape from their custody.
The UN International Organization for Migration, IOM, has been conducting rehabilitation and training programs for returnees. Why is NAPTIP not doing any of such?
Well, unfortunately, like I said before, much of what NAPTIP is doing is not being reported. I really don't know where you got your information about rehabilitation by IOM, but that is exactly what NAPTIP has been doing from inception till date. For NAPTIP, it's a total package. It's not just to bring the victims back. We follow the victims by ensuring that the traffickers are prosecuted as well. We keep them in our shelters. We have shelters, which is very, very key and very important. We keep them in the shelters. We rehabilitate them. We counsel them, we take care of their medicals. Some of them go through formal education, some of them do skill acquisition programs, and then at the end of the exercise, they are empowered to carry on, and become useful citizens in their various fields. So that is what NAPTIP has been doing and will continue to do.
With the dangers and sufferings that many of these migrants are exposed to, we find that there are still cases of returnees wanting to go back. Why is that?
Well, so far, the migrants that, let me first make something clear. We involve ourselves with those migrants who were victims of human trafficking. And those of them that returned so far under our NAPTIP's watch have not gone back. So I really do not know those you are referring to, but those who came back and who were in NAPTIP's shelters, counseled by NAPTIP, rehabilitated by NAPTIP, are doing very well as we speak and have not returned and have vowed not to return to Libya or to any other country for that matter.
What is your own advice now for young people who are planning to travel out of the country by force through irregular means?
Well, I will advise Nigerians not to embark on that journey. There's a lot going on now. Besides sexual exploitation, domestic servitude, and forced labor, there's organ harvesting going on. That is the latest dimension. And you may not have the opportunity to come back alive to tell your story. You're better off staying in Nigeria. Believe in yourself, believe in Nigeria, and you'll make it here.
On a final note now, what is NAPTIP doing on its own part to discourage irregular migration?
Well, the truth is that these youths need what I call a national orientation and reorientation. It's the mindset of the youths, who are in a hurry to make money and who believe that anything outside Nigeria is the best. They do not have confidence in themselves at all. Most of them have a very low self-esteem from what we've discovered. They need to have this national orientation to believe in Nigeria first of all, Nigeria first, to believe in themselves. And once this is done, and that is what we're going to be doing now with the National Orientation Agency, once this is done, I'm sure you'll begin to see something different.
Thank you very much for joining me, Julie Okadonli, the DG of NAPTIP, all the way from Abuja.
Thank you for having me.
There's more to come on the show. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the show. I am now being joined in the studio by Chijioke Samuel, who is another Libya returnee. Welcome,
Thank you.
Chijioke. How are you today?
Thank you.
Yes, Chijioke. So you embarked on that journey to Libya. How did this all start? How did you make the decision?
Well, first of all, I thank God for my life today, because when I was in Libya, I passed through a lot of things in my life, but I thank God that my life is saved. So when I was in Libya, I passed through a lot of prison over there in different highlands. First of all, I go to prison in Sabah. So after I finished the prison in Sabah, they now smuggled me through the desert when I was trying to go to Tripoli. I spent more than 2 months in the forest where they hid us, because they told us that they will kidnap us if we go through the main road. They have to be passing us through the desert. So they are hiding us different places before we spend 2 months on the bush getting to the capital. So at that time they was giving us a little food to manage, no water to drink. We are not bathing. After everything, that's how we are sleeping in the forest. Till after 2 months, they now brought a diner. They start loading 16 men. They will arrange 8 men to keep their head this way. Another 8 men will cross their leg this way. So that's how they package us. They now use seven baskets of tomato basket to tie all of us. They use it to cover us. They now tie it rope at the up. So when we reach police checking point, the people cannot know that human being is under the basket. That's how they package us over there. And when we get to the Tripoli, it's only God that saves us. Because of how they tie us with the rope, we cannot breathe fine under the basket. Because if I thought that I know before, I could have raised my body up. When they tie it finish, I will lose my power. But I relax myself before they tie the rope. So when we get to Tripoli, they lose all the rope, we cannot get up. We relax there to get more power before we come out.
How long was that journey to Tripoli?
The journey will take like 3 hours.
But before you left, let's talk about you before you left for Libya.
Okay, before I left...
Nigeria.
Okay, before I left, I traveled from Nigeria to Cotonou, and then took a razor going to Senegal. When I got Senegal, I now met a Nigerian girl from Edo State. So she was looking at me, I was looking at her, she started laughing. I asked her, are you in Nigeria? She said yes, of course. I asked her from where, she told me that she's from Edo State. She asked me, are you Igbo man? I said yes. That's how I asked her, where are you going? As we were moving with traveling bag, she said she's going to Italy. I asked her, Italy? In this road? I said, I don't believe this. She told me, I said, I don't believe this. She told me she's going to Italy. I said, Italy that used euro currency? She said, yes. And I'm confused. And I'm still thinking about it. I told her that I was living in a country called Cape Verde, because I traveled a lot before. I have been in Brazil. I speak Portuguese. I have traveled to France before. I speak France. After Brazil, there is a country called French Guiana. I was living there before. That's where I learned how to speak French. So when my family invited me to come back to Nigeria, that I'm the first one of the family that I have to come and settle down in Nigeria, they want me to marry. Because all my junior brothers, they have married. They got 4 children, 3 children, even my mother last born. I have like 3 kids now. So they told me to come and marry in Nigeria. I told them that I'm having my white woman in outside country. They told me that I'm the first son of the family, that I have to come to Nigeria to marry here. They told me that they have found wife for me. I told them, okay, that what's happening is that I will come. So when I come back to Nigeria 2014, That's my first coming back after 10 years when I left. Before I traveled for a long time. Since 2004, I came back 2014 during the Ebola time. So when I came back, I was planning for the marriage as my family told me. So I went to Dimota to buy the marriage stuff. So on my way coming back in the night from the Mandelas, the armed robbers attacked me under the bridge, behind CMS under bridge. They came out in group. They was diving the bag that I'm carrying, searching my pocket. That's how I lost the former paper I was using to travel out before. So I don't know what to do. I cannot travel through the airport anymore. That is how I now take off through Libya. Now take off through Cotonou to be going to Senegal, to travel back to another country I was living calling Cape Verde. So when I got myself in Senegal, so I met a Nigerian lady who told me that she's going to Italy, that if I make up my mind, if I can make up my mind to travel with her. I told her, please, I didn't budget for that. I'm just having money to go to Cape Verde. She told me that she wants to know if I will make up my mind to go with her, that everything is not money. So when I heard what she said, that everything is not money, I now make up my mind that if it's Italy she's going, that Italy, they spend good currency, it's euro currency, that I will make up my mind to go there. So as I have make up my mind, she now go to inside the garage and buy ticket of the Rolls going to Niger. So we now paid for Niger. From Senegal coming back to Niger, we spent like 3 to 4 good days on the road. So when we get ourselves to Niger, she now contact the sister living in France. The sister now send us money through Western Union. I now use my international passport to receive the money in Niger. That is why I now feel at home that the journey will continue. That's how she now used the money we collected from the Western Union. We now use it to keep on the journey. So from Niger, Yame, inside the garage, we now saw bus that are going to Agadez. So from Agadez, we land to Agadez on Friday evening. They now told us that we have to cool down till Monday before they will load heroes that are going to Libya. So Monday evening, we now come out of the garage. We saw a lot of healers line up. They are loading it one after the other. They will fix a stick by the back of the heroes. Everybody with one stick to hold yourself. You'll be sitting on this stick. So that's how we continue the journey. So when we reach to Libya, Saba, they now carry us to inside the big garage. The Arab man who come to welcome us over there now go and lock us up that we have to pay more money that we haven't paid for our journey. So when they lock us there, they started giving us food, small. When they cook the food, they will bring the small plate of food. A lot of people will gather the food. You take one hand to eat. That's what we eat for the night. The following day, they will come and throw the small bread to you. It happens that under 3 days to 4 days, I have slimmed down. So God's so kind, they now smuggled us to, that we are going to Tripoli, to the capital. So the money we control through our family. My junior brother was sending me money. If I want to receive money from Nigeria, somebody who lives in Libya that have an account here in Nigeria, my junior brother will go and pay money for his account. The person living in Libya will see the alert and give me through the currency of Libya, dinars. So that's how they smuggle us from the 2 months time before we get to Tripoli. When we reach to Tripoli, so they now arrest us in group. They go and lock us in big hall. When they lock us over there, they see my size. They started asking me, why are you big like this? They gather me, all the Libyan people, they carry gun. About 5 men, five Libyan men, they gathered me on my back, beating me like this, hitting me the gun, asking me, why are you big like this? Why? I told them that I'm a sports guy. That's my size. But why I have this stature is that I was doing sports in my country. So So when I tell them that like that, as they started beating me, later after everything, they told me that now, that the people that is inside the hall before, that the people that control the hall, that I have to do challenge with them now, that I will fight with them. Who fall on the ground will be the next chairman in the hall. They bring out 3 Gambian men to fight with me. So I was catching those men one by one, hitting them on the ground. When I fought them on the ground, everybody was clapping. Libyan people, they carried their gun up, clapping that this is the kind of men they want here. They was clapping. Senegal people, they are singing in their own language. Gambia people, they are shouting, up Gambians, up Gambia. The Nigerian people shout, up Nigeria. So when I lift the boy and hit him on the ground, they now bring the other boy, making 3 boys that I fall on the ground inside the place. They will now say that I'm the ghetto boss. Everybody was happy. They are shouting that I will be the one to control the hall. So that's how they now trust me. I started working with them. If they bring food, I will be the one to be sharing the food. They now using me to treat the blacks like animals. So they now give me big stick. They told me anybody who make noise, I hit him. I use this stick, but I have human feeling. I don't treat them in that way. But when I see the Libyan people that they open the gate to come inside, I will get up with the stick, acting like I'm beating them. So, but they're using me in a way I'll be treating them in a hard way, but I don't need it in that way. Because if I beat anybody from Senegal people will shout that I'm beating only them. If I beat somebody from the Gambia side, Gambia people will rise up, they're shouting that I'm beating only Gambia. So when the Libyans come, that time if I see any Nigeria who mess up in front of the Libyan people, I will beat in a way Libyan people will say I'm doing my work. So after everything, they now brought a big power bike that I'll be using it. They don't want me to go. They want me to be working with them. They now tell me that I will start work with them to go and arrest anybody. But why I don't want that kind of work is just that they now bring their uniform. They show me the uniform. The uniform is black and white, like this new police uniform now. They now show me the uniform. They show me the big long gun. Is it AK-49? They show me how to control it. They show me the small pistol. They give me 3 guns. They bring out 3 guns. So I'll be using 3 guns. They told me if they want to go and catch anybody, to go anywhere they want to catch somebody, I will go with them. Anybody who mess up, I will catch them. They told me that I will feel free, that I will not be staying in the prison. They have a home for me. They show me the big power bike that I'll be using. And one thing to why is that if I follow these people to be doing this work, if they told me to shoot somebody, if I don't shoot, these people may shoot me. That is why I got so kind when the Nigerian government, the ambassador, now came to interview us in the prison. And I tell UN that, please, I need to get back to my country.
So at that point was when you decided that you needed to stop living that life and come back to Nigeria?
Yeah, that's when I decided that I will stop working with them.
All right, we'll continue with your story right after this break. So we'll go on a break now, and when we come back, Chijioke will still be with me in the studio. Please stay with us.
On Digi 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that panel.
Digi 360, providing clarity to issues.
Welcome back to the show. I am still with Chijioke in the studio. Yes, Chijioke. So let me ask you now. The lady that you met, that you said lured you. Now, have you heard from her since then? What happened to her? What eventually happened to her?
Okay, thank you so much. Do you know how I lose her contact? Because when we get to the garage, the Gambians over there, they are working under the Arabu people. So as they are working under the Arab people, they are the people who control the ghetto to be sending people out, people going to Italy. They will bring out a heroes to be passing them to Tripoli by the water side where they load the boat. So when they saw her that she's a nice looking lady. They now took her to their home where they are living. So they now dropped me on the sand where I can be lie down with a carton. The girl now keep body like if I'm not together with her anymore, because she have seen Gambian people and the Libyan people who can treat her good. That is why she now go with them. They took her to the living house. They left me in the garage side where I can lie down on the ground.
Now, so, the living house, what is that living house? The
living house is where those people, the Arab people, give the Gambians that are working with them where they are living. They took her to the house. She now do like if she's not with me anymore. That's how we lose contact. They now first of all send her to Italy. So on the way going, the boat capsized on top of water. That's how she went to prison. She spent 7 good months in the prison before they deport her back to Nigeria.
All right. So you seem to have a kind of rapport, a relationship with the Libyans there because of your size, of course. Now, did that give you any status? Were you able to get close to the sea?
What happened is that I don't know how to swim, but when they load me in the boat, we were like 155 people in one boat. So when we are going to Italy, we have run many hours. So on the way going, our boat now capsized because of the waves. And our boat is pumping boat. So when the waves throw in and they load us about 3 boats, 2 at the front, we are at the back. When the waves come in a big way and throw, it capsized our boat. 65 people died in the same boat with me. About 30 girls and 35 boys died in the same boat. So when they are dying, they are sinking down. Some was catching my leg. Some drawing my clothes on my back, shouting, "Biggie, Biggie, Biggie, Biggie." That's how I remove the clothes. I stay hanging, holding the rope that I'm holding on top of the boat. That's how. So after everything, all of us, about 55 people, well, 155 people, the people that remain on top of boats, maybe they are not more than 80 people again. So everybody was crying that we are dying, no rescue. From 4 o'clock in the morning, our boat capsized. We are on top of the water till the next 4 o'clock in the evening. On the afternoon time, a helicopter come on top of us to come down like this a little bit. All of us was crying, raising hand up. They now carried the newborn baby, one woman having over there, to raise it up, to raise the baby up in a way the helicopter will see the baby. So we are shouting for rescue, rescue. So all of us was crying. I said, God, is it today I will die on top of sea? All of us crying. So as we are crying, the helicopter, they wind up, but I believe that they will be seeing us through the screen. After everything, when the helicopter left, it's like they caught out the police people in the area. The police people now coming with a small boat to come and rescue us. When they rescue us, they will carry us to the prison to go and lock us. And when they lock us there, the Nigerians that are in that very highland will come and bail us with like 500 dinar. 500 dinar. When they bail us like 500 dinar, like they were using in form of 50,000 Nigeria. They use it to bail us out. They will go and lock us somewhere. Our family in Nigeria, we can be calling our family in Nigeria to pay 150,000 in their account. They will get like 100,000. They are using it to do business. When they go and bail somebody from the prison, we now control money. Our family will control money to put in their account before they will leave us. So that's the business Nigerians are using us to do over there.
So how did you eventually get help? How did you get rescued?
How I get rescued is that when they lock us in the prison, the guy that came to give name that he needs people that lock here to come out, God so kind, the boy is in Libya now. So the boy wants to come and bail somebody out. He asked me, "Are you from which state?" I told him I'm from Enugu State. You know, surprised. He told me that he is from Enugu State. And you know, asked me which part of Enugu State. I tell him that I'm from Kano West. He told me that him from Kano West. He's surprised. So he now told me which village in Kano. I told him I'm from Abugo village. The boy told him that him from Abugo village. The boy now shout. He hugged me. He said, hey, look at his brother. And that time, fuel inside the boat have peeled all my skin from my legs to my waist. Blood rushing down because their fuel is dangerous. Because when our boat capsized, they turn up all the big drums of fuel inside the boat. So the fuel touched with the salt water is dangerous. It peeled out all my skin. All my skin was red, throwing blood away from my foot to my waist. See it, upon the accident, Libyan people still have mind to be beating us with the condition. No treatment. After everything, when the guy came to send the Tyson man who came to the prison to bail us, because him cannot appear to the prison, he will give Tyson money to go and give the Arab man who locked us in the prison. When he paid the money, the Arab man will lie down us inside the boot of the vehicle. So when they will now lie down, they will hide 5 men inside under the boot. The Tyson man will carry the person to the house of the Nigerian man who paid for the bailout. That's how I'm saved. So when the guy noticed that I'm from his place, the boy called his mother, the mother living at Onitsha, Anambra State. He now called the mother and asked the mother if he knows so family, that he saw one of the family here in Libya, that they locked me in prison. He's the one that bailed me out. When he asked his mother about my family, his mother shouted to tell him that this your brother, that this your brother. That is how the boy now shout. The boy now forfeits my bailout. The boy helped me a lot in Libya.
So you mentioned UN earlier. How did you come in contact with IOM and all of those things? Okay.
How I contact with them is that from the prison, when I met that my brother, I now moved from his house again to take off again. In a way, I get myself to Libya. In a way, I will get myself to Italy, I mean. Do you understand me? So I now moved for the second journey again to know if I will cross the sea again.
Was it wicked to you, or why did you leave? Why did you leave his place again?
Okay, why I leave his place is just that when I got myself back from the injury that I have, so I have to look for something to hustle. So I cannot stay for his house just like that to continue because he's using that to do his business. So I have to go and look for something I'll be doing. So I now met one Libyan man who wants me to be going to work with him. But going to work with him is very, very dangerous because you can't move on the street, walk with your leg, you as a black man. Because if you walk only you on the street, another Libyan man will carry gun to overtake you, to kidnap you. In a way you will control money, and he will be using another black man working under him to control that money. So it happens that I cannot be going that work. God so kind, and I'm join Muslim in Libya. And I convert myself. Me, I'm a Christian, but I now convert because of what I'm passing through. I have to convert myself as a Muslim. So the day I convert myself as a Muslim, it was a big day. A lot of Gambians, Senegalese people, a lot of people like me that day, Malian people, they happy that I convert as a Muslim. They now give me new name. My name now, I started answering Al-Haji. I started answering Al-Haji Abdullahi. That's the name they gave me. And that day, they was bringing all kind of gift, money, keeping down, some juice, bread, a lot of things. They heap everything down. They say everything is for me. I was surprised. I don't know that that's the gift they are giving for the day somebody converts as a Muslim. So I now follow them. They are teaching me how to do prayer for Muslim. I've started following them to go to mosques and pray. After everything, the thing now mastered me. I know how to pray. I know how to do the ablution. And I'm surprised. So the Libyan man who have the big garage, he's the one that have all the boats to be crossing people to Italy. The man now asked me one question. He asked me, now I'm a Muslim, that he's happy that I convert as a Muslim for his connection house. That if I have, he asked me one question, if I have circumcised myself. And I told him yes, that I circumcised. He said, okay, for that I will cross the sea, I will go to Italy free. That's how they fixed me in the boat free without paying any money. I was surprised. He now told me that it's no good a man who don't circumcise to follow boat and cross the sea. That's no good to cross a big sea. So when he asked me that, I told him, he now happy. That's how they now fix me in second boat. And I'm trying my luck again to cross. On the way going, we are closer to Italy. We now see different color of water. The sea change color. One side is blue sea, one side is black sea. The Gambia boy who was driving the boat don't know where to follow again. He don't know if he will follow the black sea side or the blue sea side. If I thought that we follow the right hand, the blue sea side, we could have seen the rescue boat, the big rescue boat. That side is Italian side. We now follow the black sea side. And then the Greece at the front. So as we are trying to go that front to meet Greece side, the Greece side, we now met Libyan boat that block us in our front. And that time, the boat at the front have sink down already in our front. A full boat have sink down already. The sea was bad that day, waves pushing the sea. So the next thing we have to do, we don't have any option. Instead of us to die on top of sea, we now, as the big boat now block us at the front, they now arrest us there. That's how they started rescue us to inside the big boat. As they rescue us, we don't know that they are taking us back to Libya, and that's how they carry us back to Libya again and lock us back in the prison again. So when they lock us back in the prison again, making another time of going to prison again, and I say, God, which kind of condition is this? That's how they lock me over there again. So when they lock me over there, when the IOM now come and interview us inside the place, that's how I now get the opportunity to come back to my country. Because when they now go and lock us in that same prison, these people started treating us like animals. Because of my size, they now thought that I'm the one who driving the boat. They started beating me. They told me that they will slap me 200 slap. They now bring somebody who big like me, using 2 hands, slapping. They say it must reach 200. That's how they are slapping me, people counting it. Till they count 80 times. They now lie me down. They told me that the man that looks like me, the boy have my size, they told him to jump on my back 200 times. The boy was jumping on my back, jumping with us. As the boy jumping, they're beating his back. So he can use power to be jumping. So as they're beating his back, he's jumping with all his power. What I'm doing on the ground is, I'm now shouting, till I weak down. They're still jumping. They were calling me Mr. Captain, come, they'll be giving me punishment. I'm not the captain. I don't know how to swim. And even when they learn how to start the engine boat, they're suspecting me. But why our group don't want to show the captain is because of the boy have tried for us a lot when we are in the sea. That's why nobody want to point him. He's a Senegal boy that drive that day. There was 2 captains that drive us, one Gambian, one Senegal boy. They're the people who drive us that day. But we don't want to show them, because if you show them, Libyan people may kill the person, because they can kill anyhow, nobody will judge them. So it happens that we have to save the boy, not to show the captain. But because of my size, they are not thinking that I'm the captain. I have to bear it to suffer all the punishment in a way, not to show the main captain. So when they are slapping me, after 1 month, something sounding inside my ears every day. Till after 1 month, till 2 months before I started hearing something like a normal human being, because of the slap.
All right. We'll continue with stories from Chijioke right after this break. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Cut. All right. What's your name again? Kemi? Yes, sir. Good. Are you ready for us for next week?
Yes, sir.
Next. Look, what we need here is one who can speak fluent English. Give her a chance.
I need a angel to hold me. Hold me, my beautiful angel.
Cut! It is Angel, not Angel. Please, I'm done with you. Excuse us. Kemi was far better.
It's not about our rendition. It's not about our performance here. By the time she and her friends join us in our hotel rooms, you will know how far.
Can I have her phone?
She has a robust profile.
Real robust profile. I do not undercut professional ethics. It is an act of corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back to the show. I still have Chijioke with me here in the studio. Chijioke, now let's talk about you and when they finally rescued you. How did you feel? On the day you heard that you were going to be rescued, how did that make you feel?
Honestly, I was happy that very day, honestly, because when I was in prison, when they rescued me, that's when I started receiving treatment. Honestly, to tell you the fact, IOM people, they are trying their best.
How has it been so far since you have been back?
Because when we are in the prison, I see how the people bring in some doctors to come and treat us. Can you imagine that there was a day that I got sick in the prison? They came with ambulance took me to hospital. Honestly, when I was receiving the treatment, I don't know that is, I'm just having hypertension. When we reached the hospital, I confirmed that I don't sick, that I'm thinking so much. So a lot of doctors started, when they did my test finish, they now took me to where they are doing scanning machine. When they took me there, the machine carry me, the machine come out and carry me like this to go inside. That day I was surprised. I haven't done that kind of test before. So when they test me finish, they have all the record. After everything, the whole doctor man came back to see me in the hospital. There was around on my bed like this, shaking me, asking me, Chijioke Samuel, you don't have any sick. You are okay. But you're having BB. I'm now surprised that very day. After everything, when I spent like 1 week in the hospital, they now took me back to the prison. Before the IOM now come and know who want to go back to his country and who want to continue the journey. The whole people who don't want to go back to Nigeria, they remain in the prison. And as I request that I'm going back to my country, is better for me. That's how we now record our name that very day. And I thank God that the Libyan people who want to use me that day, they want to use me to be working over there. They are not around when I signed that I'm going back to my country. Without that,
No, I've allowed you.
Honestly. So it happens that when I have recorded my name, even the day they want to bring me back to my country, they are not around when they come and mention our name.
Yes.
They now took us to the airport. That's how we now left the prison. Without that, I could have remained there.
From all indications, you look a lot better than how you were.
Thank God, honestly, because when they arrested me, honestly, they was suffering me with water, drinking water. They rationed the water a little inside the cup. And in the night, they will cook the white rice without salt, without oil. You use your one hand to eat only once. That's what we eat in the night. In the morning, by 10 o'clock, they will come and throw the onza bread, the small onza bread to you. That's what we eat. Because they was doing everything in a way I will reduce for my size. Because they're asking me why my size is like this. They need to do anything in the way I will lose my... You see?
So right now, what are you up to? What are you doing now?
Okay. What happened is that for now, I'm not doing anything, honestly. My mother, she was crying a lot. Say why I don't want to base in Nigeria. I told her that I don't have something doing for here. That's why I don't want to base here. But now I've made up my mind to settle down here because my mother told me that I'm the first son, that I don't have to go out. I have to be around to be checking the family.
All right. So what's your advice now for those who are making plans to go through this route?
I say, in my life, even if they told me that Libya is like America again, I cannot try that country anymore in my life because I suffered a lot, honestly.
All right.
I suffered a lot because it happens that there was a time, the place they lock all the Africans, there is a place we have, I don't know how population that we are there, but I'm the one who later broke the prison. When I ran away, I saved life of 84 Africans, people who have mind to run with me. How the thing happens that day is just that the people who control us with gun, they are not around. It's only one man around that day. The 5 men went out. So it happens that the iron door they left open there, the man come and start beating one Nigerian girl. Because the girl, she make call to Nigeria, they told her that yesterday her father died. She now used back and fell down she did like she faint. When the Libyan man come in, they now use pipe to beat her hand. When they beat her, they notice that the girl faint really. They have to do her something that will pain her to know if she's died or not. They now put fuel in her hand to burn her fire. When they now want to put the fire, everybody in the prison was shouting. Everybody started crying, saying, no, don't do her like this. So, can you imagine that Libyan people have mind to put petrol on somebody's head to burn the person? To burn the person's hair. They did it to one Nigerian boy over there. They were shocking us with a rhetoric. Yeah, then you tie wire in your hand, plug it in the rhetoric. The thing will be shocking you. They will be pouring you water. They will keep many men on the ground. They will be pouring you water on the ground. Plug you in the rhetoric light. They will be waiting till 10 good minutes. The thing will be done. The person will squeeze before they will now lose it. God so kind. As they're doing it for one man, you never reach my turn before. Never reach my turn before they now take their mind away from me. I thank God for everything. What I passed through there, I say God. And how they are shooting some people, if they want to use somebody to do example, they can shoot one man and the one gear to do example. They will just kill the people. Later they carry the people, wrap them with a bed sheet to go and throw in the desert. Just like that. Nobody will ask them. They cannot bury the person. Just to throw the person away, they use sand to make the person like this. They will go on their way.
Sad story. But like you said, you are happy to be back.
I thank God for my life. I'm happy.
Thank you very much, Chijioke, for being a part of the show today. Well, as you have seen, Chijioke is very happy, thankful to be back to Nigeria. But this case is just one of many of these cases of people traveling through the Saharan desert to Libya, to Italy, and other countries, European countries. That's the much we can take on the show today. We'll continue again with another insightful episode next week. Thank you so much for watching. I am Oyi Adekunle.